So if you guys follow MrRoflWaffles or Milo, you may have seen this recent video. He talks about the culture with COD Fans and how they demonize constructive criticism, along with demonizing simple facts for simply not being positive enough. So now he's getting demonized for stating documented, factual information that's also corroborated by people who worked at Activision. They're getting mad at him because it doesn't fit with these COD fans' confirmation biases. And they are so busy trying to ride the high that they are getting from the hype of Black Ops 6 that they don't want anything to harsh their mellow, especially to be harshed with information that's factual. And without being able to challenge Milo's statements, because they are true, they are backed up, people just attack him for, quote, being negative. He's a bad guy because rather than only focusing on good things and only living in a suspended world of make-believe where everything is perfectly fine, he dare make the mistake of mentioning something that's true that may not be good. And Milo points out that this is a growing problem. And he's absolutely right. It's always kind of been a problem, but I think it's kind of grown due to the hype machine that Activision has kind of created. And it's such a nuanced topic and so genuinely stupid in its simplicity of its fallacies that it can be hard to really articulate just how ridiculous some of this stuff really is on the nose of it in a way for people to really comprehend, understand, and digest. So in this video, we're going to go over some of his key points and why he is absolutely right. Before we get into it, please be sure to like this video. And if you understand the fact that I don't post as frequently as I'd like to, but you still decide to subscribe to my channel regardless, I very much appreciate that. So he starts the video with what some could argue is a pretty long-winded hypothetical scenario of Activision, again, hypothetically, misleading people on the number of views a video may or may not have. And then he asks, hypothetically, if pointing out the truth about that situation would intrinsically make you a negative guy. This all has to do with Black Ops 6's reveal trailer having more views tallied on YouTube than any other Call of Duty video or reveal trailer. And so superfans who are really hyped and caught up in their hype, of course, have to run around and tote this number and brag that this is going to be it. Call of Duty is totally back, baby. This video has broken records, and this Call of Duty is going to break all types of records in the future. This is going to be the greatest Call of Duty ever, obviously because everybody else thinks so, yada, yada, yada. And it's good to be hyped. But when you get too high on your own supply, you tend to get really defensive against factual information that challenges the claims you are using to achieve this high, because you don't want that high to ever end. So Milo pointed out that the vast majority of these views on Black Ops 6 trailer aren't organic. They're actually views that are paid for by Activision to make the interest of this video seem larger than it actually is. Now, Milo tries to put it nicely and say that it's purely for advertising purposes, but I think he's just being nice. I think we both know that's not exactly true. There's definitely more to it than just advertising. But people saw his tweet, and without any factual rebuttal against his statement, this is how certain fans reacted.
This stat last night, and I responded last night, and I said, not to be a buzzkill here, but many of these are actually paid views. And so this statistic of looking at what's the most viewed COD trailer of all time is no longer as reliable compared to what it was maybe 5 or 10 years ago. So I said this, right, because this is my job. Like, I am a full-time YouTube content creator. I have a pretty good understanding of how these sorts of things work. And I wanted to point out that there was an element here that I felt like people weren't aware of. And I'll elaborate on this in just a second. But the response that I got was posts like this saying, yeah, he's being negative, I'm noticing it now. So this tells me a few things. One, it tells me that information, just pure information, not positive or negative information, just info, which is clarifying the context of a situation such as the one that Charlie Intel is presenting here, just presenting info is being seen as negative. It's counter to what would otherwise have been a positive narrative based on misinformation or misunderstood information. And so correcting the record and seeking the truth in this case is being seen as negative. That's interesting to me. We'll get onto that in a second. What's also really interesting to me is that he's saying, I'm noticing it now. So that means, to me, the implication here is that there's an ongoing conversation where maybe somebody has said to this user, oh, Milo is just negative about the game, for instance. And initially, this user has gone, no, I don't think that's true. But then they've seen me tweet this and they've gone, ah, that person was right. Like that narrative is correct. Milo is just being negative. And by being negative here also, I think that there is an implication and an assumption that that means I'm not being fair.
And that assessment is correct. That person's statement exposed the psyche of people interpreting factual information that they don't want to hear as simply an attack or hateful bias coming from someone who doesn't like the game and doesn't want other people to get the game to begin with. These are fans that want everyone to share the same hype and high they are currently experiencing, and in turn want those same people to turn a blind eye to any negative information to not bring down their hype and their happiness. And so they reinterpret any information that just happens to be perceived as negative as being agenda'd. There must be a motive behind it outside of simply being the truth, mainly because I don't want to believe this is true. Or even better, which we've also seen, even if this is true, you shouldn't bring it up. So then facts are interpreted as unfair, and the messenger here, Milo, then gets attacked or wrongfully branded. Milo then goes on to show a former Activision employee not just agreeing that there are paid views, but a lot of the views are actually paid views.
Authority instead. So let me, for example, just scroll down here to Mitch's reply. So Mitch, as you can see in his bio here, formerly Activision. He knows how these things work, and he's agreeing with me that many of these are paid views. A lot of them, where's the reply gone? There it is. A lot of them are paid views.
Milo then breaks down obvious ways to detect Activision's extensive use of boosting videos versus how their videos actually perform organically, and how generally Call of Duty videos struggle to break 250,000 views, let alone 1 million views, let alone tens of millions of views. But then there is one video seemingly out of nowhere that gets 1 million views, and Milo wants to point out what makes this video different from the other videos surrounding it. Is the content that it's advertising that much more enticing than the other videos around it? Or is there another reason this video in particular got picked to get 1 million views?
As the very first data point to consider here, despite the 7 million subscribers that the Call of Duty channel has, not everything that they post gets this kind of view floor, okay? That's just data point number one. Data point number two. Let's look at some of the recent Modern Warfare 3 stuff that's gone out, okay? So, launch trailer for Season 4, so that's a pretty big deal, the entire season launch trailer. 300k views. There's a Season 3 multiplayer launch trailer, 230. There's this bundle, 280. That's a pretty big, cool bundle as well. Godzilla and Kong. But then amongst all of these, you'll notice this one in the middle, this dropping into Dubai one in the middle, which has 1.1 million views. There's some influencers. They're sort of doing a skit, I guess, about being in Warzone, about them dropping into the new map or whatever it was. I don't remember. And now we're seeing the influencers flying in a helicopter, and we're seeing them skydive. And then, okay, we're still seeing them skydive, and they're playing the game. Okay, so there's a little bit of gameplay here, a little activation where they're playing the game on this rooftop here. Do we think that this is something that a fan would seek out to watch? Is this something that if you said to your mate, for example, oh, did you see the new Call of Duty video they posted last night? It had, I think Joe was in this, if I'm not mistaken. It had Joe on a rooftop playing COD. Would you be like, you have to see this dude? You have to see him skydive? Would the word of mouth spread in that way? I would argue no, and that's obviously no offense to Joe. That's just due to the nature of the fact that it's not that kind of video. Go down to the comments on this video. Let's see. Spend money on development and optimization? No. Spend money on meaningless advertising? Yes. Oh, that's interesting. This is the top comment on the video. This is where the money they save from layoffs goes to. This is where all the microtransaction money went. I thought this was surprise new Warzone map set in Dubai or something. Who was I kidding? Spending money on development? No. Spending money for randoms to jump out of a helicopter in Dubai? Yes. So the sentiment around this video is not super positive.
Yeah, I never saw this video mentioned in any of the chats or discords that I'm in. And if anybody that I knew actually did watch it, they absolutely were not enamored enough by it to share it with their friends or tell them about it. And as Milo pointed out, you can also see by the comments that most of the people who did end up watching it didn't actually like it. Nobody watching this video was like, oh, this is so cool, I've got to tell all my friends about it. But more sad facts become even more obvious as Milo dives deeper.
Crazy that it was kind of flat, right? And it kind of ended up at 63k, which is pretty much in line with all of those other videos that we were seeing on the COD channel. And then it had this insane, crazy burst where it jumped up in a perfectly straight line to 1.1 million, and then it completely flatlined and it stopped. It went from 1,133k to 1,138k. It is essentially getting no views after this point. If this was crazy relevant at the time to the COD community, it wouldn't have taken 6 days for it to get over the 63,000 view mark on YouTube. So this is a feature that anybody can access. I can access it for my own videos as well, and it allows you to put money behind the boosting of a video. This happens on other platforms as well. There are brands that come to me and they say, hey Milo, we would like to pay for you to make an advert. Okay, so like maybe I'm talking about a new phone that I bought or something, and they're like, we want you to do a paid promotion of the phone, and then we will pay for the video to get a bajillion views. And you will see this exact kind of viewer behavior where it goes from like 60k organic, and then suddenly it will jump to like 1.1 mil inorganic, okay? Paid views.
All the other videos around it have very little views, likely organic views. Why did they pick this one to boost with a bunch of money? Well, one thing you may notice about this video that makes it very different from the other videos surrounding it is that they put a lot of money into producing this video in particular. They spent money on flying out all these YouTubers, probably paying them good money for their time. They had to rent out a location. They had to pay the production team to go out there. They rented the aircraft. They paid for everyone to get skydiving prep and then actually go skydiving. They rented a helicopter. They rented out a rooftop in Dubai to do this gaming event. They spent millions of dollars producing this trailer. And they only achieved 63,000 organic views over 6 days. To put that in perspective, Call of Duty has 7 million subscribers. I myself only have 8,000 subscribers. I made a spoof trailer for Call of Duty Vanguard in 6 hours that achieved over 150,000 views in a week. Call of Duty spent millions of dollars on a video attempting to promote Warzone that they filmed on location in Dubai, and fans literally could not have cared less. So they had to pump even more money behind this video in the form of boosting artificial views to reach 1 million views. All so that their multi-million-dollar trip to make this video didn't seem like the absolute waste of time, money, and resources that it actually was. You may also notice that my video achieved 2/3 the number of YouTube comments and the same number of likes as their multi-million-dollar Dubai video. And my video has less than 1/5 the number of views, with my channel having 800 times less the number of subscribers. And look, pointing this stuff out doesn't intrinsically make you a hater or a bad person. It can literally mean that you are a fan who is concerned for the franchise you like so much, and you're starting to notice that it's not performing so hot, that it might be dying, and Activision, rather than focusing resources efficiently to try to fix that problem, they instead are spending more money in creative ways to try and hide it. Or maybe you don't even have that take. Maybe you just think they're spending extra money on marketing, like Milo puts it. Either way, none of that is bad or makes you a negative person. And look, if you have concerns, that's not because you're a hater, it's because you're a fan. Now, the next part, Milo does a large breakdown between older Call of Duty trailers with organic views, comments, and likes versus modern trailers. I'm just going to simplify it really quickly and then expand on it in ways he wasn't able to or didn't have time to in his video. So utilizing YouTube's own data, accessible through various apps, he compares comments and likes as a means to identify a way to gauge a roundabout number of inorganic versus organic views in a video or trailer. He starts out comparing Infinite Warfare, which got 46 million views organically back in 2016, 663,000 likes, over 4 million dislikes, 720,000 comments, and I'm going to take it a step further than Milo and break down 170,000 Facebook likes, 15,000 Reddit upvotes, 6,000 Reddit comments, and 25 separate Reddit posts. Black Ops 6's trailer, at the moment of this video, has around 56 million views, but it only has 136,000 likes and 14,000 dislikes, 11,000 comments, and less than 2,000 Facebook likes, only 886 Reddit upvotes, only 496 Reddit comments, even though it has 2/3 the number of Reddit posts as Infinite Warfare. So now let's provide some visual representation to really hit it home. At the moment, Black Ops 6's trailer has 10 million more views than Infinite Warfare's trailer. Let's say 1.2 times the number of views as Infinite Warfare. But it has less than 1/30th the number of likes and dislikes interactions. Less than 1/60th the number of comments. Less than 1/10th the number of Reddit upvotes and Reddit comments, even though it was posted on Reddit 2/3 the amount of times, and less than 1/100th the number of Facebook likes. So Milo plays devil's advocate, knowing that people are always going to want to argue. And he brings up the possibility that maybe people today just don't interact with videos as much as they used to. Maybe as YouTube video viewers, we're much more passive and we don't like or comment nearly as much as we used to. A great way to test that is to compare Black Ops 6's trailer and performance to other very recent game trailers and their performance. So Milo brings out GTA 6. Now GTA 6 has just under 200 million views on the reveal trailer, 11 million likes, 324k dislikes, and just underneath 900,000 comments, 216,000 Facebook likes, 186,000 Reddit upvotes, 69,000 Reddit comments out of 25 Reddit posts. Seems like people are still pretty interactive with trailers and videos these days. But obviously we can't just straight up do a direct comparison because Grand Theft Auto has just under 4 times as many views as Call of Duty Black Ops 6. If we are to be fair, we would have to divide all of GTA's data by 4 times, and then we could do a fair comparison. This is GTA 6's trailer data divided by 4 to show what its interactions would have generally looked like at around 49 million views. 2.7 million likes and dislikes, 219,000 YouTube comments, 65,000 Facebook likes, 46,000 Reddit upvotes, 17,000 Reddit comments. Even with Grand Theft Auto 6 at slightly less views than Black Ops 6 is sitting at right now, it has nearly 20 times the number of likes to dislike interactions, nearly 20 times the number of comments, nearly 60 times the number of Facebook likes, 50 times the number of Reddit upvotes, and 35 times the number of Reddit comments. GTA is getting an average of around 40 times the interaction from their fans on their trailer than Call of Duty got, meaning GTA likely has 40 times the organic viewership than that of Call of Duty. And if you were to divide based on the viewer to interaction ratio on organic viewership like we see regarding the GTA 6 trailer, that comes out to only around 2.5 million views for Black Ops 6's trailer actually being real or organic viewers. The rest are artificially boosted and paid for. And someone shouldn't be labeled a hater for simply pointing out that this is bad and or your perception is purposely being misled. Now, before you get your panties in a wad, the main point from the beginning of this whole debate still mostly stands. I guarantee if you were to divide out all the organic views from those top trailers from the past 4 years, Black Ops 6's 2.5 million organic views would beat all of them. And before Call of Duty started pumping money into their YouTube videos to artificially boost their number of views, 3 million views was the organic peak for trailers. Before, of course, the 46 million view hate fest that was Infinite Warfare. Then you even have Call of Duty World War II's 25 million views. It had well over 1 million likes. It had 140,000 comments, 20,000 Reddit upvotes, and just under 8,000 Reddit comments, and 119,000 Facebook likes. This was one of the last mostly organically viewed Call of Duty trailers that didn't achieve its vast majority of its viewer data through Activision paying YouTube to artificially boost their views. And the reason it got so many views and so much genuine hype was because Call of Duty was finally going back to World War II. And it was officially the end of the boost jump era that everyone had come to hate so much by this point. And then, of course, Black Ops 4 drops right back down. But then you have the start of the new era of Call of Duty that Activision got their investors really hyped about. And Activision needed to make sure that that hype was reflected on the reveal of this new era of Call of Duty, starting with Modern Warfare 2019. This was the beginning of Activision so heavily boosting their views in their videos that the majority of their views were inorganic. Modern Warfare 2019, for example, has 40 million views, nearly double that of Call of Duty World War II. But it only has 2/3 as many likes and less than half as many comments. Call of Duty World War II has 2.5 million views on Facebook, resulting in just under 120,000 Facebook likes. Modern Warfare reportedly had over 5.5 million Facebook views, more than double that of World War II, but it achieved only a slight edge over World War II with 131,000 likes. Now, Modern Warfare 2019 got nearly 1/3 more of the Reddit upvotes than World War II, but it only achieved 2/3 of the Reddit comments. Judging by other engagement to view ratios of organically viewed videos, Modern Warfare 2019, in all likelihood, still likely achieved around 10 million real views organically, which in itself is still a massive achievement and shows how much fans truly wanted to see the return of Modern Warfare as a franchise. But its data is thereafter so heavily inflated by their huge financial push for this game's marketing. The last point that Milo makes is really just getting into how ridiculous it is that fans call him unfair or negative YouTuber. It doesn't matter how many good things he says. It doesn't matter how much leeway he gives or how much forgiveness he throws in the way of the developers for things that we can all agree were mistakes. It doesn't matter how much benefit of the doubt he gives them, the excuses he will make for them, for the errors in their ways. He will provide the context to the development cycle to show that it's not all, Treyarch's fault or Infinity Ward's fault, yada, yada, yada. He goes through all of that and makes sure to provide all of that data and all of that detail. But the moment somebody hears something that's true or honest that they don't want to hear ruin their hype, they're just going to, in very broad strokes, label him a hater or negative YouTuber. That's ridiculous.
I was basically saying this needs to happen. This is a need that the community has. And I get it that it's tough. So I'm giving the benefit of the doubt in many ways. I'm being very generous in many ways. But at the same time, I'm still flagging that just because it's difficult doesn't mean that it's not something that would be amazing if it did get addressed, right? There's a best case scenario where I mentioned that something could improve and then it improves and everybody benefits, right? I would argue that's really positive, right? I would argue that that is pushing in the right direction. I would argue that that is helping Treyarch understand the mentality and the mindset of folks like myself and folks like some of my viewers who leave comments on videos like this saying, yes, I agree. I would argue that it is not an entirely negative thing because I am not sitting here going, this all sucks, it's all bad, there's nothing positive, nothing good can ever come of this, etc. I'm working so hard to actually provide insightful, interesting commentary on the state of zombies as a franchise, Call of Duty as a franchise, etc. And to be honest with you guys, and the world in which I just give up on that makes my life infinitely easier. It makes me richer. I would be absolutely earning more money if I was just a blind shill to a crazy degree. I'd be less stressed. I'd have a better relationship with Activision. I'd have gone on more fun trips to LA. I'd have lived the influencer life more, all of those things. But the truth of the matter is that it's more important to me to just tell it like I think it is, right? It's more important to me to be genuine and honest and to try and express myself and what's actually in my head as best I can in as clear a way as possible at all times.
The last thing I'll say on this is he's absolutely right. If you choose not to rock the boat and you choose to just say everything is hunky-dory, shill out really hard and not complain and shut your mouth, you will keep getting invites to events. Things will become much easier for you as a YouTuber and a content creator. The reason Milo has to apologize so much when he really doesn't need to, and the reason he has to soften his criticisms that are already not mean in the first place and are already just nice and constructive, the reason he still has to soften all that stuff is because he has to balance on this very thin line to at least try and keep a somewhat decent relationship with Activision. Or he may end up like other YouTubers like Nero Cinema, getting blacklisted for just giving too much honest, even mostly constructive criticism. That event that I went to and got to meet him at was my first and my last event with Call of Duty. When they promised to be transparent and then they started ignoring fans, I reported on that. When they refused to talk about skill-based matchmaking, I reported on that too. I was even talking to one of the devs from Infinity Ward at the time, and we had an on-the-record, off-the-record relationship, the trust of which I did not break. But the big YouTubers stayed in line, and they did their best not to complain about the obvious. They would maybe briefly bring it up, but they wouldn't get that into it. And therefore they remained on the good lists, and people like me ended up on the bad lists. Even though they all eventually, collectively, did come out against the extreme extent skill-based matchmaking was being implemented, and they eventually all spoke up pretty assertively about the lack of minimap in core with Modern Warfare 2019. At that point, you can't just blacklist everybody because then you have no content creators to promote your stuff, so it's an all-or-nothing kind of thing. But if you speak out too soon, or you speak out when everyone else is keeping quiet, you're going to get targeted, you're going to get singled out, and you will be blacklisted. That is, in fact, how it works. I don't think you guys realize how much work Milo does to give well-detailed as well as critical information while still balancing on that line. Milo really isn't a one-way or the other kind of guy when it gets down to it. When I met him in LA, super nice, super chill guy. When everybody got done playing the game and they were waiting for their footage to render and they were walking around the pavilion checking in on other people who were still playing, I was going to walk by and see if he had finished yet, and I was going to say hey, but while everybody else was finished and trying to get their stuff ready to get on the bus and get back to the hotel, he was still there in a private match, just getting data. He was shooting at things at various distances. He was making note of them. He was blowing himself up, taking 2 steps back, blowing himself up, taking 3 steps back. I mean, this guy, when it comes to Call of Duty, he is all business. He can't waste time picking one agendaed stance or the other. He's just going to report on what he sees and try to report on that as accurately and effectively as possible. And if within his reporting, he mentions some very true observations about things that are kind of negative or you perceive as negative, and your feelings get so hurt you have to try and pigeonhole this dude, I'm going to say what he won't. You're a fucking dumbass. Things aren't always going to be what they appear. You're not always going to like the facts that come your way. That's just how it is. And having a conversation about what may concern the community at one time or another, or in one game mode or another, isn't bad. It's how gamers keep the games they play in check. It's how they get their voices heard, and how improvements end up being made to the game, and how bad decisions in the game get reverted. Anyways, if you got this far, thanks for watching my video. Go to Milo's channel, show him some support. If you've played Call of Duty and you've never heard of MrRoflWaffles, first of all, that's freaking wild. Second of all, go subscribe to his channel. All in all, that's it. Thanks for watching.